So, how long have you been on ADHD medication?
So, oh, sorry.
Doing really good.
How long have I been on ADHD medication? That was quite interesting. So when I got diagnosed, um, the consultant said, "So what do you want to do now?" And I said, "Well, I definitely don't want to take medication." And he went, "Oh, right. Well, works really well." So I was like, "Okay, so I definitely don't want to take medication until I've had a conversation with you and I know a little bit more." So it was quite interesting because I was so adamant that that wasn't a route I wanted to go down. And I don't know what that was about really. I think I'd had a bad experience with antidepressants, and they just blunted everything, and I just lived in this world of grey, and I didn't laugh, I didn't cry, but I just plodded through life, and it kind of worked. It made me able to continue my job in general practice, which was really stressful, but didn't bother me as much. But when I came off them, and I just suddenly had a day where I was like laughing one moment and then sobbing my eyes out the next, which was a bit intense. But at the same time, I thought, wow, I feel human again, and just I've missed these emotions. They're really important. So yeah, so that kind of I think coloured my judgment. And also, I was just a bit uncertain about how long I need to be on them for, and the side effects, and all those usual worries that people have. So he gave me some information to read and some stuff to review, and I thought, well, maybe have a bit of an open mind about it, Adrian. Don't sort of like close the door before you've even really, dip your toe in the water. So I thought, well, at least the thing with the medication is that it's short acting. It lasts for the day. It was quite funny because I said to him, well, how will I know if it's working? And he just looked at me and went, your husband will know if it's working. And I went, all right, okay. Yeah. So, because I still had that feeling that, well, if I take it and I feel no different, then that will definitely prove that I don't have the condition. And then I would feel like a real twit. So I was a bit anxious about taking it as well because I thought, well, if I feel no different, then well, that's going to be even worse almost. So I was very skeptical that it could really make any difference or I'd feel any different. But I did decide eventually to give it a try. It was short acting, and if I didn't like it, well, it wouldn't be in my system for days, and it wouldn't take days for it to kick in like antidepressants are supposed to do. So I thought, well, it would be short and sweet if at the very least. So yeah, I got my prescription and tried them, and my goodness, it was amazing. It was just like, wow, wow, is this what it's like for normal people? This is like incredible. So yeah, I had quite a profound response to it. I think the consultant thought maybe it was a little bit of a placebo. They thought, I'm not sure that that's completely down to the medication, so he might be right with that one. But yeah, but I was again mixed. I was kind of like amazed and excited by it, but then also kind of really upset because I just thought, wow, I've really struggled with all these things, and suddenly it just feels so many things just feel so much easier. So it's almost like a bit of a grieving process as well with it, because it's just like this is oh I'm 44 and now this is how I could have my life, or this is how it can be. So yeah, it was and also I think it just made it clear. Yeah, you have the condition. Not only have you the condition, but yeah, you've got it quite bad because this is quite a difference. It can now feel. And sure enough, my husband could tell the difference pretty quickly as well. And the keys were less hard to find very quickly too. So yeah, one of many things that started to change. So in terms of what I noticed different in the first few days, I think it's very interesting because the psychiatric classification don't make reference to emotions in their diagnostic criteria. But for me, that was a massive thing. I noticed straight away, and was such a lifesaver for me, was my emotions were not driving me. and were not at the forefront of my decision making, my thought processes, and they really calmed down, and I just felt much calmer and I guess more in control. And weirdly, almost in a way that I felt I could express emotions and stay in control, whereas before I felt I just couldn't risk being angry or frustrated or sad or well, emotions intensely, because I thought I'd lose control. So that's probably more important than any of the other things. But the other thing I can do now is I can concentrate on a task and get distracted or interrupted, deal with that, and then go back to the task. Whereas before it'd be like someone had just sort of ripped a bandage off my arm, or just completely taken me off the subject, and it would take me ages to get back, and I'd be so annoyed that the phone had rung, and I was in the middle of doing this, and also in my head when I had things to do before, I'd be like almost kind of frozen, or just almost paralyzed by having things to do, jobs to do, whereas I found I could have them in my head and not get frantic or stressed by them. I could sort of calmly go, that's okay, so they're there, they're not going to go away, but you don't need to be thinking about them now. This is what you're doing, just focus on that, and then you can come back to them later. So I was always saying that to myself and doing it, whereas before it'd be like, oh, but I've got this to do and I got that to do, and I can't concentrate on what I've got to do now. So yeah, all those things just became possible. It was a bit of a stressful process. So it was how do I go about getting my medication? So it's a bit of a stressful process because I went privately, so that part was nice. So that went very smoothly. But getting my medication from getting the right dosage, which I did through the private clinic, consultation with the psychiatrist, to then getting the stable dose, then continued on the NHS, was difficult. So that didn't go particularly well. There was a bit of a delay in communication, and also the medication is a controlled drug. So unfortunately it fed into that kind of feeling that I felt a bit like a drug addict, because the medication is you can't just easily get it. When the chemist gets it, they have to keep it in a locked safe, and it can't be managed in the same way that other conventional drugs are. So there's a slowdown in the process, and it takes a little bit longer. And because you get the benefits of it, you do find yourself starting to get a little bit anxious if you're not going to get it. But you don't like sort of being there at the reception desk of the doctors feeling a bit like, wide-eyed staring like a drug addict going, but I need my meds, I need them, I can't not have them. So yeah, I found that a little bit degrading, a bit demeaning, really. But I guess that's a lot of that was also my perception of how it felt for me. So it's not what everyone would feel. But as it stands now, it's a little bit more straightforward. But I do need to be well prepared and think in advance, at least a week, because it takes quite a while to process. And I fell short recently and had to have a day without it, which was really tough. Got through it, but it wasn't. And again, it's sometimes useful to have a day without, because it just reminds you how things have changed since being on it. How do I physically feel on the medication? It doesn't physically affect me too much. I think at times I've had, if I get very stressed, or if it's been a particularly stressful day and I might have a bit more adrenaline going around, I can feel my heart pounding a little bit more, or feel a few palpitations. And there was a period where I had a bit of a stressful time and I thought my medication was too high and I wanted to drop it, but that actually turned out that actually it was just adrenaline and other stuff going on that was augmenting almost the medication. And my appetite's dropped, so I have lost a little bit of weight, but not too much, and it's not an issue. It's stabilised, so that's good. But I've been very lucky. I've not had any major side effects from it, and I still sleep okay. So yeah, I think I'm very fortunate that getting good benefits from it, and I don't get really any significant side effects, so that's good.